Good morning. Welcome to Walking Boxing. It is Saturday, October the 4th, 2025. And what a beautiful day we've got here today. You can probably see behind me there. Sun's out, not a cloud in the sky. A little bit warmer. I won't say it's warm, but it's warmer. I think it was about 10 degrees this morning, which is not bad. Not bad at all. It should be a beautiful day. On this day in boxing history, back in, where are we? 1969, Italy's Nino Benvenuti defended the world middleweight title with a knockout of Fraser Scott in the 7th round. That was in Napoli, Italy. In 1997, Lennox Lewis defended the heavyweight title with a knockout of Andrew Golota in the 1st round. The fight took place in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Quick story about Andrew Golota. When I was at the Olympics in '96, afterwards we all went out and had a few drinks, as you do, and celebrate. Well, not there was much to celebrate, but we all went out, as all the athletes do, and have a good time. And I was at a bar and someone stepped on my foot, and I was like, what? I sort of looked around and looked at someone's chest. I was like, all right. So as I rose my eyes skyward, I met eyes with Andrew Golota. And he was at the bar, and let me tell you, he is a monster. He was massive, and he's looking down with me with those Ivan Drago eyes that he's got. It reminded me of, in Rocky IV, when Ivan Drago looks down at Rocky, who's cradling the head of Apollo Creed in the ring after he's knocked him out. That's the look I got from Andrew Golota. He's a pretty serious guy. And I was like, oh, good, brother, and moved on to another part of the bar. That's my quick little Andrew Golota story. And he had some pretty good fights, didn't he? I mean, who can forget the fight with Mike Tyson where we literally quit, didn't he, in the corner, and they were trying to get him not to quit, and he wouldn't take it, wouldn't take the advice, and he quit. And of course the Riddick Bowe fights, we cannot forget those two either, those fights where he was disqualified twice, and not only did he wear some punches from Riddick Bowe, also I remember him wearing a phone to the head. Someone hit him on the head with a phone or something like that anyway. But Andrew Golota, one of the characters of the sport. All right, 2008, Sergio Martinez, very, very good middleweight champion. He knocked out Alex Bunema in the 8th round in Temecula, California. And 2014, Mexicans Johnny Gonzalez and Jorge Arce. Gonzalez knocked out Arce in the 11th round. The fight took place in Sinaloa, Mexico. So that was what happened on this day, back in the day. All right, so a little bit of news overnight, and a good friend of the channel, Peter Bedell, dropping the big news that Tim Tszyu, we've talked about in the last few days about him heading to the United States to seek out a new trainer. He's got his managerial team in place at the moment. Now it's up to getting a coach, and I think I talked about this even yesterday, that he was heading over for 8 weeks to meet with 5 trainers. Well, Peter has actually revealed who the trainers are, the Fab Five, if you will. So he's leaving on Monday, by the way. Now he's going to meet up with Kevin Cunningham, Ismael Salas, Pedro Diaz, Rudy Hernandez, and Abel Sanchez. Now, the one that probably really stands out to me is Abel Sanchez. And if you've been watching the videos we've been doing for the last few weeks since all this has happened or gone down with Tim, that my choice would be Abel Sanchez. And I think a few people have actually backed it up. And of course, he was the trainer of Triple G, Gennady Golovkin. So the other trainers, look, Ismael Salas, you'll remember him. He actually trained Danny Green there for a while. Now I'm just looking at the credentials there. Where are we? I'll just bring it up here. So of course, as I said, Abel Sanchez needs no introduction, but Diaz. So he's trained Miguel Cotto. Sanchez, who has trained, I said just Abel Sanchez. Salas was Danny Green, amongst others. He's had many, many good fighters. I think he also trains Rolly Romero. I think Erizandi Lara as well. There it is there. Salas currently trains Rolly Romero, Erizandi Lara. There you go. And Florida-based Cunningham helped Corey Spinks become a two-division world champion. So, and this is the other one, Rudy Hernandez. This is one that I didn't even think of. He trains Junto Nakatani. So some very, very well-credentialed trainers there. Now, who would be the favourite? I like the ones that probably stand out to me. Rudy Hernandez is probably a little bit left to centre. I haven't really thought about him too much, but I mean, Junto Nakatani, just a brute of the sport as well, isn't he? And one of the top sort of 6 or 7 pound for pound. Who can forget his win over Andrew Maloney a couple of years ago? But Salas is an interesting one as well. I think he could be a good fit for Tim. But I also think that Diaz, what was his name? Hang on, jeez. Too many Diaz's there. Hang on, I'll bring it up here. Pedro Diaz. Pedro, that's the one. For some reason, I was thinking of Albert Diaz for some reason. But Pedro Diaz. Out of all those, I would think that Pedro Diaz and Abel Sanchez and Ismael Salas would be the front runners. The thing about Salas is he's actually based in Las Vegas, and we all know Tim loves Las Vegas. Diaz, and I'm not sure where did it say Diaz was based? Miami, was it? Wherever, but doesn't matter. But they're the 5. So who will it be? If I had to pick one, I'm sort of hoping it will be Abel Sanchez. I think what he did with Triple G, Gennady Golovkin, I think he could do similarly with Tim. Very, very similar styles. I know Tim is not a real big puncher like Golovkin was. Not that actually Golovkin was a big puncher. He just sort of ground you down, didn't he? He reminded me like of, when you get a bit of meat and you just pound the shit out of it until it's flat. That's what he reminded me of, Triple G, where he just continued to pummel opponents until they couldn't be pummeled anymore. And I reckon that is the style that I think would suit Tim Tszyu. Well, it has a little bit of that style now, but I think just it's a little subtleties of improving his defence, improving his technique a little bit, maybe improving his footwork, which always has been a little bit of a worry. Just little things like that. Because, I mean, at 30, about to turn 31, you can't just reinvent the wheel. You just can't throw everything out and just start afresh. So I think he needs someone like an Abel Sanchez who's worked with Triple G and just say, all right, well, your basic fundamentals are okay. You might be 75% there of the fighter that we think you can be. These are the things we need to work on, and they can be tweaked and adjusted and, as I said, worked on over the next few months and just make up that extra sort of 20 to 25%. Because he's not lacking a hell of a lot. We've seen it. He's had some good wins in his career. He's won a world title. I know it was vacant, but he still won it. And has shown some, that he has got remarkable skills, does Tim. But obviously in those big fights, he's fallen down in areas and those flaws have been exposed. And that which tends to happen. The good fighters obviously expose the flaws of lesser fighters, I suppose. Or in a 50-50 fight, the difference comes down to who has made the necessary adjustments on their opponents and little things like that. So I think Abel Sanchez for me, but geez, I like Ismael Salas. Had the pleasure of meeting him a couple of times when I've been in Vegas. He is a great guy, knows his stuff. I've seen him in the gym working with fighters there. I think when I was there, I was working with Nonito Donaire, and very, very good trainer. It's funny though, when he does pads with his fighters, he actually has platform shoes on. When I say platform, I'm talking about 6-inch soles on his shoes so that he can sort of go up, because he's a small guy. He's a very, very small guy, but a lovely guy. He was rapid with the twins when we were there, and I think he would be a good fit for Tim as well. So they're probably the two. Who else was there? Diaz could be good. I mean, trained Miguel Cotto. He's had some other good fighters as well. I mean, I sort of forget all these fighters that have been around the journey, but a lot of these trainers have trained with multiple world champions in multiple divisions, multiple belts, all that sort of stuff. So that is what's happening with Tim Tszyu. And it's interesting that in the article, he's obviously interviewed Mike Altamura, and Mike, as he does, has just asked Tim straight out, have you still got the fire to do this? Because if we're going to do this, then we need to be all in. And he says here, where he asked the question, where's the fire at? And he said, man, the fire is lit. It's burning bright. So let's hope that's a sign that Tim is on the way back. And what else he has there? And the good thing I liked at the end of the story too is that Mike said, I have immense respect for Igor and Glenn and the team to build Tim to the level they did. They did a tremendous job, but sometimes athletes get a little stale, and this is the next chapter of his career. With a little bit of luck and hard work, Tim can scale the mountain again. So good story by Peter Badel. I like it. I haven't seen it reported sort of anywhere yet other than with Peter. I'm assuming, well, this is only we're about 8 o'clock in the morning at the moment, so I'm assuming that by this afternoon, all the major boxing sites will be running with the story, and even more so when he actually does choose his trainer. So another step in the career of Tim Tszyu. As I said before, he's had his managerial team in place, his mentor in place with Jeff as well. Jeff Fennick I'm speaking about, and now about to have a new coach. So exciting times for Tim Tszyu, and I think it'll be really evident when Tim gets back in the ring, because just this whole new concept, whole new team, I'm sure will work wonders. Now, whether that's enough to get him back to where he was remains to be seen, but I think we will definitely see maybe a rejuvenated Tim. And that can happen when you change what he's doing now. You change your entire team. You just see a little bit more excitement and enthusiasm and belief, I suppose. You see it all the time in other sports as well, where even you see a football player or something will change teams, and you can see just and they might have been a bit stagnant, and then all of a sudden you see them rejuvenated. So yeah, exciting times for Tim Tszyu going forward. So we'll keep an eye on that, and of course, best of luck to all concerned. All right, so it looks like we have Isaac Pitbull Cruz, Lamont Roach, December 6th in San Antonio. I think I mentioned that yesterday or the day before. Well, it looks like we might have another big fight added to that, and it's a ripper. It is Janibek Alan Canuli, is that it? Anna Canuli, whatever. Janibek, we'll call him. Alan Canuli, I'm going to call him. And Erizandi Lara, after all that, could be on the same card. So we could have Isaac Cruz and Lamont Roach and Janibek and Lara as the chief support. So that's going to be in January 2020. No, sorry, wrong card. December 6th, I said there. Yeah, December 6th in San Antonio. So what a ripper fight card that looks like it will be, pay-per-view. Now, that has, by association, pushed back the Manny Pacquiao-Rolly Romero proposed fight. That was supposed to be in December on the Amazon pay-per-view as well, but looks like that will be in January of 2026 at the MGM Grand, Manny Pacquiao and Rolly Romero. So finally, Amazon Prime look like they're actually starting to put together those shows that they promised us last year and this year, that they really struggled to produce the goods. And it looks like they've got a couple of really good shows coming up in the next sort of few months. Speaking of Manny Pacquiao, November 29th, he's running his first promotion. I did say in the last couple of days as well that he's looking to take on the world promoters out there, the best in the world, with Manny Pacquiao Promotions, and his first card is in Temecula, California, and it will feature Lorenzo Parra and Elijah Pierce. So that's going to be the first Manny Pacquiao Promotions American show. So what I say here, November 29, Temecula, California. All right, now another one with the Dana White-led Zuffa Boxing, not Zuffa Boxing, it's Zuffa. There has been calls from fans, and it's not unexpected, that they need to change the name. Now, I think, of course, I was pretty vocal about it as well. How can you have the best fighters in the world all vying for the prestigious Zuffa belt? It doesn't make sense to me. This is boxing. This is not some manufactured sport like they just plucked out like a bare knuckle thing or anything like that. This is boxing. It's probably the oldest sport, definitely the oldest combat sport, you would think, unless you include back centuries ago with karate and all that sort of stuff, but it's boxing. and we don't need something wanky, I suppose, is probably the best way to describe it. And I'm glad there has been a little bit more pushback from fans about the name. And probably the one name that's sort of been put up that probably does make a lot of sense is the Ultimate Boxing Championship, obviously a play on Ultimate Fighting Championship. I don't mind it. The UBC has a little bit of a ring about it. Now, knowing Dana White from afar, I think he's the type of guy that would dig his heels in and say, well, no one tells me what to do. I'm going to leave it as Zuffa. But as I said the other day, can you imagine a Jai Apataya or a Naoya Inoue or an Alexander Usyk getting up with the freshly minted Zuffa boxing belt? Doesn't make any sense, as I said. So I'm hoping they do change it. And I think UBC sounds pretty good, the Ultimate Boxing Championship. I like it. Another word or another name is the TKO boxing. I don't really like that. Call it just, what's this TKO stuff? Just call it KO if that's the thing. Call it the Knockout Boxing Championship or whatever. But I like the UBC. It's got a bit of a ring about it. Has the Ultimate Boxing Championship. That's what hopefully will happen with that organisation. And he's pretty adamant that give it a couple of years. He said, I know people are strongly doubting what we're trying to do, but he said, give me a couple of years and we will see. And it's been strongly modelled on the UFC. So I don't know. Again, this is boxing. It could be the best thing that's ever happened, or it could be one of the funniest things that's ever happened where it just goes by the wayside and the fans just don't gel to it. Because you've got to remember with UFC being a brand new sport, it was a brand new fan base. No one was really set in their ways. No one really had any expectations or was sort of deep-rooted. There was no deep-rooted traditions there where fans were very, what would you call it, stuck in their ways. With boxing, geez, even though we are a crazy bunch, even though we are a little bit deluded sometimes and stubborn and everything else, we are a very, very committed and passionate bunch of the boxing fans, and a sport that's been around for a couple of centuries now. I don't think they're going to like too much change. So Dana White's just got to be careful, because you might have all the money in the world and all the backing in the world, but it means nothing if the fans don't take to it and don't like what's happening. They could throw billions of dollars at this, but if the concept's not right and they don't make the right fights and they haven't got the fans' favourite fighters on board, then I think this will go pear-shaped very, very quickly. And I just get the impression that Dana White's along the lines of, well, hey, look what we've done with the UFC. It's a juggernaut of an organisation. You know, the bigger shows are just as big as the biggest boxing events, and I don't dispute that. And they're massive. But again, these are fans that have started from scratch. Boxing fans, it's a whole different ball game. It really is. And I sort of like it. If you think, let's say if you're an AFL or NRL fan, you know, it's almost like they started a new competition from afresh, and new teams and a new competition and new trophies and all this sort of stuff, new way of doing things, and all of a sudden, everything's different. I don't think that would work, and I think it's actually, not that I'm an NRL guy, but I remember the Super League back in the day, they tried a similar thing. I know it might be not correct because I don't follow NRL, but I just remember back in the day the whole Super League thing, and it just didn't work because it was just different to what fans were used to. They didn't like what they were doing, and changing so much of what they'd been used to pretty much their whole lives. And I just get the impression that this could be the same. That if Dana White digs his heels in and says, nope, this is the way it's going to be, this is what it's going to do, and we're not going to rename it, we're not going to listen to the fans and do what they maybe want, then I just think it could go belly up really quick. And I think the best thing what Dana White probably could have done in this whole thing is maybe talk to the fans, and whether it be by surveys or whatever, press conferences, whatever it might be, where they actually get feedback from the fans and they go with that, because we've all got our issues with boxing. So why not actually listen to the fans instead of telling the fans what they are missing and what they need? I know a lot of fans are not happy with the whole potential change, addition to the Muhammad Ali Act. I think that's got people's sort of spider senses up and about, that this is not on the level what they're trying to do, and I'm just not sure, again from afar, that this can work. But we will see. We will see. and with all these other promotional firms all starting to get their act together and try and outdo each other, the only ones that will benefit are the fans, because of course they're all trying to outdo each other with bigger events, bigger fights, more money, more not pay-per-views, taking pay-per-view out of the equation. So lots of different things that are happening at the moment. And as I said, it could hopefully will only benefit the fans, but we will see. But the first thing on the agenda, Dana, change the name. We don't want Zuffa Boxing, whatever the hell that means. Change it to something else. And I like the UBC. Got a ring to it anyway. Give me your thoughts as always, guys. Always great to hear from you. Yeah, the comments and questions and all that are very much appreciated. So guys, have a awesome Saturday. We will catch you tomorrow.